so now this is like a emulsifying story, right? So you have Mike Pence, who is the governor of Indiana, and who last week, had the PR nightmare of his life because he couldn't explain the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. I think it's Religious Freedom. Yeah, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act of Indiana, which basically makes it legal for companies to, what's the right word here, segregate against LGBTQ people by using a religious exemption. Now, people have made this claim that, it's not that bad, blah, 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 blah. But all those people are wrong. And here's why. Because because being gay, lesbian, transgendered, or bisexual in Indiana is not a protected class, means that anybody who happens to be gay or bisexual, a company can literally put a sign up in the window that says, "We do not serve gays." And they will be legal to do that through the religious exemption. Now, when this law was first created a long time ago, it wasn't meant to have that impact. But now, America, it does indeed have that impact. And the consequences on this thing are devastating. So, as you know, there's been this over the past week, there's been this flurry of activity. Tons and tons of organizations and companies have said, we will not go to Indiana, including states have banned all travel to Indiana. And it doesn't seem to be getting any better. Even though Mike Pence has announced a fix for this law, the fix still does not solve the problem because being LGBTQ is not a protected class in the state, which is the major fix. I mean, the larger fix here is that all he has to do is just veto the law. But he signed the law into place because he understood that the state doesn't like gay people, and probably neither does he. Because a couple years before, right, during the Don't Ask, Don't Tell fight, Mike Pence made it very clear on the congressional floor that he doesn't like gay people. By basically saying, this will destroy Army, it will destroy the, relationship with, what he said was so ridiculous and so offensive. And so now this doesn't surprise me, and it should not surprise conservatives. Now here's how this all puts into play with the 2016 election. Every conservative candidate will now have to come out on the record and explain their position on this law. They're going to have to explain, why is it they're so adamantly against gay people? Right? Or why they're either against gay people or they're for gay people. This is what this boils down to. This is the battle line in the sand. So what the conservative movement has tried to do, the far right, is they've tried to use these religious freedom restoration acts as a way to scathe and get around the fact the Supreme Court has ruled that pretty much gay marriage is pretty much legal. So we've got to get around this. But here's the thing, right? This is the best way to explain this. The LGBTQ movement is growing, and those that support LGBTQ issues are also growing. So in the 50s and 60s, when the Christian right was big and bad and bold, they would take their stick and they would kill the one bee. But too bad, every time they tried to go after this bee kept procreating and having more bees. Right? And now the Christian right and the far right movement has hit this bee's nest. Right? But this time around, there are millions of bees, and there are millions of bees supporters. And now the Christian right is being stung from here to high hell. I hope they have their EpiPen, America, because the movement has shifted. And this is beyond just, the religious thing, because millennials are like, listen, we're so over this. The millennials have finally realized that this crazy right Christian teaching is just wrong. And Jesus was right. In that Jesus is love. Love your neighbor as yourself. Right? Treat others as you like to be treated. Judge lest you be judged. That is what Jesus really spoke of, and that's who Jesus was. The far right from the 80s and the Ronald Reagan, Perkins, James Dobson's far right, they don't believe that. And now they're losing the war. Right? They're losing the battle, but bigger than that, they're going to lose the war because the American people say, I don't understand. Being gay does not hurt my marriage. Right? My neighbors being gay does not mean that me and my wife are getting a divorce. My neighbors being gay does not mean that I'm no longer a good Christian. America, our country and our nation is shifting on this issue faster than you think it is. And Mike Pence and his allies, they're on the wrong side of this. In the next story for you, they're on the wrong side, America. They're just on the wrong side. And I think to make matters even worse for this group of individuals is that not only are they on the wrong side of this issue, but they're also on the wrong side of most civil rights issues, right? They're on the wrong side when it comes to stand your ground. They're on the wrong side when it comes to voter ID laws. They're on the wrong side when it comes to women's right to choose. They're just generally on the wrong side of history, right? But don't worry, because the power of the people will always overcome the people in power. We know this to be true.